Are you planning on going to ProLine By The Fire this year? 2022, yeah, 2022. I am, and what I'm gonna do is continue wrenching on this element that has the TGH Titan chassis, because I think this is gonna be a perfect rig to bring to that event. So I don't know if I just told you that I was going to the event or not really, but yes, I'm going to be going to ProLine By The Fire this year. I've got my plane tickets already bought. I will be housing with Mr. RC Jesus from Orlando Hobbies. It's hard for me to say that seriously. I know he doesn't think he's an actual RC Jesus, but he's got really long hair. He's got the typical, like, you know, white Jesus look to him, if you will. What the Roman Catholic Church is saying that Jesus looks like, sort of thing. At any rate, I'm getting off track. I am going to continue wrenching on this little project. I got you know, life in the way, and have not done any more work on it here lately. So perfect timing to just kind of pick this back up. And what I'm going to do today is essentially just take everything apart, because we don't need most of this stuff anymore. The electronics, yeah, I'll set them aside. It'll be good for something maybe. Let's see. I need an extra bin. I'll set it on top of a bin. How about that? We'll do that. And then all my screws. Yes, all my screws. All my children's screws. Ooh, and I get to decide what electronics I'll use. We did just get these team spec, these purple SS team spec revolvers in. They look pretty good. That would be kind of neat to do like some purple and yeah. We'll see. I'm getting cart before the horse here. I got a whole bunch of screws to go through. I'm sure there's some instructions somewhere that I'm not gonna read. So I'm actually gonna take some of these parts off because they don't really match the width of other things, and I don't care about running a bumper or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm just gonna see. We'll just see what happens. I'll just have a big old pile of screws. I don't know what's what anymore. It's been too long since I did the last wrenching on this. Totally fine. It happens sometimes. I love to have more projects than I can complete, evidently. I mean, if we're gonna look around here. So, ProLine By The Fire, I have never attended. I have been told for years that I need to go to this event, that it is an extremely fun event to go to. You know, good location, really well ran, which is pretty important in events. I have heard that some of the larger events in the last couple of years have really gone downhill as far as, you know, the quality of the courses and everything like that. So if I'm going to be away from my family and the business for a week, I want to make sure that the ones that I choose are going to be really high quality ones. And ProLine By The Fire is one that fits. Some other ones that I can think of off the top of my head that I know are high quality. K&K does their yearly bash. Forget what they call it at the moment, but I always hear good stuff from them. And the people down at K&K are obviously very well in the hobby. They came from the competition realm, so they understand what hard courses are. On the same note, Super Shafty also throws a yearly event, and same thing, you know, kind of bred from competition, understands what it takes. I mean, they're at Key City Hobbies, which Super Shafty is now sold under the Key City Hobbies name. Super Shafty is still a brand, still lots of Super Shafty parts. But now you buy them on the Key City Hobbies website, and Key City Hobbies is where Super Shafty is technically located. You know, multiple companies under one roof, just like I have. But they also have a lot of competition courses there, in the house. It's like a half warehouse sort of space there at Key City. So All right, what I want to do is find my knife. Oh, are these instructions in here? They better not be. Remember, always cut towards your skin, kids. Been having to teach my little one about that lately. She's been, you know, she's 6 and she's been pretty good with a knife. But she's been doing a lot of this number when she's cutting, or she'll like put her thumb underneath it when she goes to like cut an apple or something, and whew, talk about give a father a heart attack. I keep telling her, nope, can't do that. Don't do that. All right, I need to make sure that I install this in the correct direction so that our overdrive is in the correct direction, because I do believe that this has overdrive built in. So we're going to be this way. This is the front of the rig. We're going to be over here. Bam, that is how it gets installed. And it looks like, oh, we got to... Before we do the installation of this, we do need to put the link in the pocket, and then there's another screw that comes around the outside. Interesting way of doing it. I like that. A little fiddly for taking your links out, but pretty clean. So before I do that, I guess I need to get the links ready. Because if I can't put the links in, then what's the point of putting that part together? So we need to get our links out of the old one. Let's see, 50-50 chance that I guess correctly. Yes, guess correctly. Oh, I bet you we could even reuse, if we didn't care about stainless versus normal black oxide screws, we could reuse these links. I didn't realize that Element used set screws for their bottom links. That's neat. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. That's really more competition style assembly, using set screws like this. Haven't really seen any other manufacturers that I'm aware of use set screws in their link pockets. Let me know in the comments if there are some other ones that do, though. And now I can kind of see why TGH made it to where you put the link set screws in first and then a screw on the outside, so that they could tuck the skid plate all the way in. Because the reason why I can get to these set screws is they are lower position than where the chassis plate, where the chassis rails would be. So I can, you know, I can still get to it. Suppose this would be where having the electric wrench would be nice. I got it right there. I can see it. It's looking at me. Will I save time by switching out? Because I would need to switch the tip. I don't think I have enough of those drivers. Or do I? One of them's looking me in the face right now. So we would need a 1.5 driver. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that real quick. Maybe we montage this. Yeah, how's the weather doing in your neck of the woods? We just finally had some rain in Missouri. I mean, it was like 2 straight months, at least 6 weeks, if not 2 months of 0 rain. And one reason why I have not been doing any hobby house garden videos is there has literally been nothing to tell you other than it's real hot and dry. Nothing's growing really. My corn did finish. And then I don't know if it's squirrels. It looks more like deer decided they were going to eat most of the corn just one night. It was like the day before I was going to pull it out, because the corn that I bred is really early corn, like really early corn. It's all done. It's all pulled down. It's dead now. And some animal thought that it was tastier than I did, I guess, which is fine. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that if my yard ends up just being food for animals, I'm definitely okay with that, because right now I'm not going hungry. And if long term the animals learn, oh no, it's dead, of course it's dead. So whatever. Don't have the charger here. So if animals learn that my yard is the smorgasbord, the buffet, if you will, and they love to hang out and honestly spread their poop around. I've been getting some nice deposits in the front yard from deer, female deer, I can tell. I'm fine with that, honestly. You know, it's a shame that I only got maybe half or a third of the corn seed that I was going for, because I was just out there for breeding. I'm not doing sweet corn to eat. You know, I'm not row cropping it and feeding it all the weird newts, all the industrial petroleum derived fertilizers. But yeah, you know, having a garden can be challenging, I guess. But now that things are cooling off and we finally had rain, all of the weeds that were waiting in the garden decided to pop out all at once, and that's, you know, it is what it is. Keeping a normal annual style garden, that's a lot of it, is keeping up on weeding, which is I think why a lot of people are not extremely successful at gardening, or they don't want to be, in that it just takes a lot of work to keep up a regular garden. And that's also why I've been leaning towards the permaculture side of having fruit trees and fruit bushes and nut trees. And is there such thing as a nut bush? I guess hazelnuts are technically a bush. Yeah, got some hazelnuts out front. It really seems more my style, because then I'm not having to like slave over row crops all the time just to maybe have something. Whereas if I promote a big tree or whatever, once it's established, as long as it's, you know, not too hard of a drought or whatnot, or not too porous soil, then it's going to produce food. And it just does it whether or not I help it out. And the more of that we get going, the more topsoil that gets generated from all the leaf fall and all that good stuff. Oh, only had 2 screws in here. Oh, never mind. There are 4. I'm just looking at it in a weird way. Oh, let's see. What was I talking about? Being hot and dry in Missouri. Big surprise. At least up here in central Missouri. It's a lot wetter in southern Missouri typically, but that's just because all the water that flows through essentially central Missouri in the Missouri River, there's a big shelf. There's a continental shelf that my town, Columbia, pretty much sits on. And what happens is that water leaks out of the river and out of the creeks. All the creeks are called losing creeks around here because they lose water. It goes underground through the bedrock, the big crevice in the continental shelf that creates the bed of the Missouri. Well, it goes down and goes towards the ocean, basically. It goes downhill. And downhill from us right now in Missouri is southern Missouri. And so there's a lot of spring-fed streams. There's a whole bunch of springs in more southern Missouri. And yeah, there's a lot more water down there because of it. Now then, here we go. We're gonna bolt this up. Oh, I'll keep the stock motor in it for now. Looks like we need longer bolts. Oh, they probably even come with a kit. What about that? Countersunk? Any countersunk in here? Is it countersunk? It's probably countersunk. It's countersunk. How many times can I say countersunk within the span of a few sentences? Looking like he used a 60-degree countersink bit to me. I don't see any countersink screws in there. I may have to reuse some. No biggie. Looks like this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This skid plate is a little thicker, so, you know, we're only looking at partial threads there. So I wonder what happens if I use the longer screws. See, I made the mistake once in an early video. Oh, I think that's gonna poke through. I used too long of screws in one of these element transmissions on one side, and it ended up contacting the gears inside. Yeah, that's right there on the edge. It's not for the other. But we'll put it on with 2 screws, and we'll call it good for now. Do I got any shorter screws? No, they're all the same. Yes, the downside of putting custom things together is it is not always a straightforward process, which is one reason why I do not have this done. Really not fond of the fact that the widths of like this and all the other parts are not the same. And I got to use spacers or modify some parts, but you know, it's an aftermarket chassis, and I'm not aware of any aftermarket chassis that don't require something, you know, a new set of links or, you know, a little bit of modifications here and there. I'm just being lazy. I'll design my own motors from scratch, but when it comes to bolting parts together for a rig, that's when I get lazy, yeah. All right, we're getting close. It is a shame that my hand driver is out of battery. I'll have to bring that back to the shop and charge it up, I guess. C'est la vie. All right, next thing, links in pockets. We're upside down. Which way is the front? Probably the one that has the steering links on it. Front. There we go. Want to make sure I do it right. Do the stock links fit? Oh, it's tight. That's real tight in that pocket, which is a good thing. We don't want loose link pockets. But that is tight. I almost wonder if they expect us to change out the ball ends to the Traxxas style, but that goes in. I'm gonna put it in. We'll call it good. Now we'll use our stainless ones because they provided them. They provide. You know who else provides in life? Trick question. Ooh, are these already threaded? Are these, oh, the link pocket is already threaded. Oh, just look how easy that goes in. I don't need you, power driver. TGH Invader Products has my back, or at least my back side. Threaded in like butter. Lovely, lovely. So I would assume that when Vader made these skids for TGH, that it was a cutting tap. Excuse me. Evidently, my throat doesn't want me to say that. I believe that they would have used a cutting tap instead of a roll form tap, because when you use a roll form tap in Durlin, it tends to spring back and you get really tight threads, which in a lot of cases is exactly what you want. In a case like this, it might not be what you want. So you would use a cutting tap instead, which is what most people use. But when I had the lathe, I definitely got hooked on roll form taps for practically everything, unless I physically couldn't use a roll form tap for one reason or another. There are really good ways. If you have a blind hole, that's the one problem. If you have a blind hole and you're trying to using a bottoming tap situation, which means you're trying to get threads all the way to the end of it. If you have a roll form tap, a lot of times it will essentially like hydrolock in there. And oh yeah, these are threaded nice. So with a roll form, the air can't get around the actual tap body itself when you're using roll form in a blind hole like that. And if you give it a little airspace to just compress the air down and come back out, it's fine. But if you're trying to do a bottoming tap, there's not going to be any airspace. So unless you have, you know, some sort of vent in your hole, you basically can't use a roll form tap, because it will compress that air so much in the pocket that it either deforms the part greatly, deforms the threads with the air rushing around the tap, or more frequently, it'll just shatter the tap, because the bottom of the tap will get stuck, but the top of the tap will still try to be moving. It'll still be driven, if you will, by your machine. And the end result is a shattered tap in the bottom of your hole, because it'll like shear halfway down or something like that. So you're kind of forced in this situation to use a cutting tap instead of a roll form tap, because the air can get around the cut. Don't know why I just told you all about roll form versus cutting taps, but yeah, that's a thing. That is the thing. And these are indeed blind holes down there. It doesn't feel like they drilled all the way through on both sides, which if they did, that'd be one way around it. But that's really deep, and it looks like it's threaded on the outside and then not threaded in the middle, which is easier to do. Trying to thread something that long that's an M3 is damn near impossible. So it's threaded on the outside. That's why those suckers went right in for me. Super nice. Really love that. And then on the inside, they got kind of hard because I was essentially making my own threads, but being the excellent machinists that they are, they sized the hole just right. So I was creating my own threads. I guess they could have used a roll form, since it doesn't go into that blind hole. It's a through hole here. See if I can see any swarf or anything. If anybody knows, you work at Vader, let me know. Did you use a roll form or a cutting tap? Probably a cutting tap, I would assume. We're almost done with this, I swear, and then I will stop talking about taps. But just as a machinist, I can really appreciate the fine job that they did on just this one piece, just on this skid plate. And maybe a little tight on these link ends, but again, they might be assuming that I switched these ends out for some Traxxas, because that's more standard in the industry for crawling. Those Traxxas rod ends, boy, yeah, she's tight. Get in there. I don't want to switch you out. I want to use these standard plastic ones. There we go. Oh yeah. Beautiful threads. If you were doing this build, what electronics would you put into it? And this could be any brand. You don't have to stick to Holmes. I'm going to stick to Holmes. But if you were going to choose anything to put into this build, what would it be? I still haven't decided, but I am kind of leaning towards, I've already lost it, my purple Team Spec revolver that is around here somewhere. What did I do with it? Like hiding underneath the bag. It is a tiny motor. Oh, right there. Did you see it? Did you type it in the comments? Did you tell me where it was? It's so tiny I couldn't see it because of the screws that were around it. So tiny and light. So I do think I'm going to go for essentially tiny and light for this particular build. I might end up going brushed with like a Magnum or something like that. I love the way they drive, especially with a little bit of what's it called? Synchronous rectification, active drag. Love the way those magnums drive. But we do a pretty good job of duplicating that with the Revolver and the Crawlmaster V2 paired together. So I think what I would use on this is a 500 LP servo. Nice and light on the servo, plenty of power for a lightweight rig. I would use the the Revolver SS Team spec that we just dropped because it's nice and purple. And the purples practically match. The only difference is that this is a bead blasted, more matte finish, and this is a straight machined finish. So there's just a little bit of different hue to it. But as compared to, let's say, the Crawlmaster that ended up turning a tiny bit more on the blue side, I think they match better. And who doesn't want their rigs matching? Let me know in the comments if you don't care about color. And I typically don't care about color either because I'm not colorblind, but I'm matching blind. I am art blind. I don't understand such concepts as some colors looking good next to other colors. I know it's a thing. I just don't get it. I guess I could learn, get, you know, one of those color wheels. I've been told multiple times, oh, just get a color wheel, you can learn. Yeah. I got a color wheel and it didn't help. No. Parts. Yes, parts. Stop it, parts. Parts are going everywhere. All right, we got this plastic. There we go. Insert. Then we do this. Now. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and get my drive shafts in here. This way I don't lose them. Make sure we get the right side. Here we go. And these, I can't tell if these are stainless set screws or plated. I think they're solid stainless. I guess a magnet would tell us. Oh, nickel plated. The magnet told us. Now, which side is our threaded side? There's our threaded side. I think my eyesight might be getting a little worse because I find myself, as I'm working, I'm having to get closer and closer over the years. Oh well, happens to everyone, I think. You know what's really helped my vision though is, did I put this in backwards? I put it in backwards. I put the skid plate in backwards. I see it was all upside down. I fooled myself. So it looks like our dig ratio, our ratio is going to be in the wrong direction. I'm pretty sure because yeah, I'm going to keep putting it together. I think this is right, actually. We'll find out. We'll put it together. I'll roll it. We'll see. What was I talking about? I forget. Let's see. We were talking about stainless or nickel plated set screws. Yeah. I did talk about that. And then I talked about, lost my train of thought. I got distracted by thinking that I did something wrong. Yeah, those are through. All right, and then we roll this and we'll find out. I think I got it right. Yeah, it looks like I got it right. Yay! I don't have to redo things. Oh, I suppose it would have been easier to take that motor out before I bolt everything in around it, but we're good to go here. I'll just do one of these numbers. Do you run your spur cover? Is this one of those things that you take off and you never put back on, like me? Because once I take a spur cover off the first time, it's not going back on. Nope. I mean, I'm putting in a motor so I can save 100 grams. Why would I put 5 grams of plastic back on it? Although places like California at ProLine By The Fire, it might be a good idea to keep this cover on because there's a lot of really silty, like nasty sort of sand. 18 tooth pinion. That's a pretty big pinion. I might choose something different. Oh, they got a metal. We got a metal plate here for our motor mount. That's always nice. Nice screws as well for installation. It's like a, I don't know what that'd be called, pan head? It's not, I want to call it a flat head because the head is flat, but it's not a slotted screw. So that would be the incorrect term. There we go. There we go. And, you know, 18 tooth pinion is a little tall, and in my opinion, it is a 16 turn motor, and they got lots of reduction in the rest of it. So it obviously works out fine. But, well, if I'm not going to reuse this motor, why take the pinion off? Unless I'm going to put it with the rest of my pinions. All my opinions. My box opinions. Here's a nice tiny guy. Ooh, it's aluminum though. Yucky old aluminum pinion. But that's a lot smaller. It's like a 13, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 12. That's a 12 right there. Probably, oh, it's even got a set screw. Neat. Cool. And I got a 15 right there. Also old Robinson Racing, really old aluminum pinion from Robinson Racing. Yeah. Well, we got a 12, we got a 15, and the stock is an 18, so I think that's a good start. That'll get us going. I'll just go ahead and take this pinion off because you never know when you need a good pinion. That's a pretty nice pinion too. All right, old Reedy 16 turn. I wonder what your internal resistance is. Lord Kelvin could help us with that. Do you know Lord Kelvin? Has he given you the good word? There we go. And purple motor. Yeah. Yeah, let's go purple on this rig. I know AE is typically like a blue. Ooh, I didn't notice. These look to have Vanquish compatible hubs. Neat. Neat. I wonder if they are. I'll have to check that later. Squirrel. All right, pinion first. Let's just go real low and slow on this. I want to see how it performs. So which way do we need to put this pinion on? Nice long shaft on the motor. So we put it on this ways. S-a-ways. And knowing Robinson Racing, it's half a chance to be a SAE screw size, but oh look, it's actually 1.5 millimeters. Yay. All right, how is our depth? Let's see if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that on the overhead. I'm just trying to set my pinion depth to where the teeth mesh properly between our pinion and our spur. So that either means that I'm gonna have to go really close over here, or I'll flip the pinion around depending on if the set screw doesn't hit, but there's really not a lot of room. You can see how close I'm having to run it to the face of that. May be able to flip it around, but we'll just run it like this. I think this is gonna be fine. It's always funky trying to install a pinion on a revolver style motor and you're trying to like turn the shaft, but it won't turn because you're holding the motor on the outside. It sometimes gets me. Okay, that's lined up pretty well. Oh, what do we got? Like buzz falling off of me. All right, stay on task. Stay on task. That's lined up pretty good. Maybe a little better. As you can imagine, I'm kind of particular about my pinion mesh. It is one of those things that if it's not just right, they're noisy. I don't like that. I mean, I love running 48 pitch because it's not noisy, so I will definitely spend a little extra time setting my pinions. Now, since this revolver has umpteen 6 mounting positions, we can make sure that we get this just right. So, do we want the wires facing up, or out, or down? Let's go with up this time. Or I guess out, because that's gonna be the best all around. So we'll use that hole. Yes, there we go. Man, that purple does look good. Let's see how long these screws are, though. These stock screws may be, oh yeah, these things are a mile long. I don't want to use these. We really only need a screw that's maybe 5 millimeters. Ooh, I can measure between the faceplate and the thinness of our mounting plate. We need a screw 6, yeah, it looks like 6 millimeters would be plenty. And this one is, you can see how I'm checking the depth on the back side. Most of our calipers are going to have this little guy there. So boop. And since it won't turn on right now because it's dead, you can just actually use this scale up here. So that is 10 millimeters on the nose. That's 4 millimeters too long, at least for where I'm mounting it. So let's change. All right, back on task with the 2.5 millimeter driver. Allen driver? What would you call them? Hex driver? It's got to be a name. There is both a name and a perfect length of screw for that. That was nice. And looks like that pinion that I grabbed wasn't the right pitch. It is slightly weird. Well, I have this one right here. We've got the 15. Yeah, that's weird. That's not a 32 pitch. Definitely not a 32 pitch. But it also wasn't meshing well to 48 pitch. Huh. Gonna have to set that one aside. Ugh. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't use that. All right, we're going back to stock. We're just gonna use the 18 tooth. We'll see how our wheel speed does, and then go from there. No biggie. Make sure we get our teeth lined up. No problem. There we go. Now, back. Like I said, building stuff like this is always something. You got to take it apart 4 times to put it together 5. Oh yeah, that's so much smoother. You pinion, we're gonna have to have a talk later. It must be some odd metric pinion or something, but why would I have a metric pinion? I don't know. All right, evidently we need to loosen this one a little bit. There we go. Give us room. Yes, very nice, very nice. How smooth does it spin? Smooth. Very smooth even. Cool. And just a little bit of play. All right, on 1/2, no play. And then we spin it 180. You can probably hear that. That's usually how I set my mesh. I make sure that I get it tight in one spot, because there's always going to be a little bit out of round. But I make sure it's tight in one spot and then not too loose in the other. And if it is, then the spur needs to be addressed. But we're not rubbing our transmission. That is the one thing that you have to worry about with a revolver. Oh, we got a mile of room in there. I could definitely go down to a 15-tooth pinion. If I wanted to deal with this and having a weird SAE pinion Allen wrench thing. Anyway, later. We'll test this first. But here we are. We are getting closer. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt this frame rail on, and then we're going to call it good for the day, because I got other stuff. Oh yeah, I got other stuff I need to do here soon. So we'll bolt this up and we'll be good. All right, making sure that the front's the front. Yep. And get a little bit of sporty lean to our chassis. Make sure we get these links out so that I can bolt it up. And yeah, looking good, looking good. We've probably got all kinds of, let's see, how many threads do we want is the question. Which screw do we have lots of is the other question. There we go. I had these all lined up and then, you know, took a couple of weeks off of building it. Maybe months. And now I don't remember. So we got plenty of screws. No worries. We'll just start screwing things together. All right, there's our pocket. Here is our beautifully threaded hole. Look at that. Just look at it. Would you look at that? Just look at it. Oh yeah, and then our links looks like they're just lining right up. Just beautiful. All right, so it might not be super duper bolt and run, but this is really close. I mean, just using the stock links themselves, especially if this thing crawls as good as the feedback that I heard from, I think it was Brad at Element, or no, Schultz. Just had really, really good things to say about this bolt-in kit. If they manage to get that much better of a driving geometry with the same lengths, that's honestly pretty amazing, because the length of your link, it does limit you on what you can do to the geometry. But small changes can make a really huge difference. There we go. It's starting to look like a rig. It's getting close. All right, so to bolt in our top links, we will need nuts to retain it on the back side. Looks like we got nuts in here. Aw, nuts. All right, I'm just gonna push these over here. Don't need those anymore. Titan hardware, it even tells us. Oh, and hey, look, it was provided by Team K&K. I was just talking about them and how they throw amazing events. All right, so we need to make sure that our bolt is long enough, our screw is long enough that it goes through both the chassis and the link mount. So I'm thinking this size. And I don't really know where I want to start. as far as my geometry. So we'll do middle upper. We'll do middle upper holes there. That should be fine. And tempted to just kind of hand tighten these. I want to get everything set and just kind of mock it up first. There's always taking it apart and put it back together. Usually have to do that a few times. So I'm not sure if the I think the side rails, the what do you call them, the sliders that I have misplaced. The sliders, I do believe, go back on here with some slight modifications to fit new body mounts and such. But yeah, I do believe, yep, I can use those. Again, take it apart, put it back together a couple of times. I'll get it without the sliders. I'll see if I can mount my electronics without sliders to help. That'd be pretty slick in my opinion, but I'm not gonna hold out for that. Okay, obviously we need to take off the old shock mounts and do all that. But for now we stay on task. Stay on task. Oh, might have been easier to do this without the transmission in the way. Imagine that. And do we have a little bitty, we need something to help. Little bitty pliers. Little bitty pliers. I don't have any little bitty pliers, so we'll just pretend that I have children hands. Oh, the pretending is not going as well as when children pretend. Oh yeah, how fiddly can we be when we're assembling? Oh, you grab? Yeah. Cool, got it. All right, and these will be loose for now. No biggie. We got one more link, and then we got shocks, and I think I do have time for all of that. But the shocks need to be on the outside of the chassis, not on the inside. Come on, get it together. The steering, I love the behind the axle steering on these too. They did such a good job. All right, yeah, we'll have to take all that apart. One more of these. I believe that's the right length. That looks, yep. Oh, we even have some choices for the upper link. Only 2 choices. You know, sometimes having too many choices is a bad thing for link geometry because you can get really far outside the envelope of what works well. So it is kind of nice that they do have 6 holes in the back, but they only have 2 holes in the front. And this one I am going to bolt in because it doesn't need to go anywhere. I just saw, yes, my little wrench. There we go. Starting to look like a rig. I'm excited. This is going to be perfect for ProLine By The Fire. So I think. And I'm pretty sure Element's out there. I will be visiting Element if they have people there while we're traveling. All right, so last things last. That's not a 1.5, is it? No, that was a 2. Last things last, we're gonna put our shocks on and we'll be ready to go. I mean, as far as rolling it around like a child would do, making noises. We shall need, oh no! We shall need, oh no! We shall need longer screws. I wonder if that's why they provided these longer screws for. I wonder, there's 4 of them. What could that be for? Maybe for mounting my shocks. I do like how they did the pivot balls on these. Just, I mean, I'm going to keep saying it. They did a really good job on these rigs. Element did a fantastic job. Oh, that might be what these aluminum spacers are for too. Well, we have two different widths of aluminum spacers. That one looks a little wide in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah, that's straight though. That's straight. I'll just use that. We'll call it good. Is it though? Is it really? We'll try the narrow one. Let's just see how the narrow lines up. Boy, this would all be so much easier if I would just read an instruction booklet or watch a YouTube video that they definitely have out there. All right, we're going to use the thin spacers. Yes, we are. And I'm sure the thick ones are the ones I'm supposed to use, but too late now. I'm going to bolt up two thins and yeah, that's going to rub. Not too late now. I'm going to unbolt that thin spacer and we are going to fix our mistake. And then I'm going to lose that washer again. All right, so we got this, we got that, we got this, and that. There we are. And try to make sure that we don't forget the spacer. Come on now. There we go. And I'd like to see a couple more threads. I guess I could take off that. There's a washer on the outside that I could take off and then flip. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll do that. Just so everything is perfect. So there we go. There's our washer to lose. I'm going to take off this outside washer. I'm going to flip our plastic, whatever it is, ball mount for the shock. Put that towards the inside. Oh no, that goes all the way through though. That's why the washer is on there, so it won't pull all the way through. All right, washer's going back on. Take it apart, put it back together. Take it apart, put it back together. Washer's going back on. Because otherwise, these shocks could literally just fall off the rig if that washer wasn't there to stop them. Very typical for a rig. It needs something to keep your shocks from falling off. Imagine that. All right, yeah. And since this has got a couple of plastic pieces, I can just really tighten it down a lot to make it work. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That's what we're gonna do. This guy goes weep, 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 and then this guy goes womp, 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 womp. Why? Why? I declare something. I declare a thumb war. It seems like one of these screws was just a teeny bit longer. Oh no, I forgot to change the spacer on that side. That's what happened. So one more time, I promise. This is the last time we're going to take it apart. For this particular screw, at least. All right, we're going to do this. I'm not going to lose any parts on the floor. No, sir. No, sir. Not gonna do it. There we go. I swear that's the last time. It seems like there's less. There's only like 2 threads though. There's only 2 threads. There's only 2 threads here. It'll be enough. It'll tighten down. It'll pull together. Who remembers that old sitcom show from the early 90s? Pulling Together. Oh, my time's getting short. Time's getting short. I might have to call that here today, folks. I'll take this. I'll take this apart first, though, because it's bothering me. Cool. I'm totally gonna remember that this one right there is for the panhard. Definitely gonna remember that. All right, so we're getting close. We're getting really close. But unfortunately, my time is nigh and I need to get going on other stuff for the day. But this is how it would bolt together. You can see all kinds of belly clearance. Look at that belly clearance on this rig. Wow, that's pretty incredible. You know, with the skid plate tuck and more than likely a little bit different geometry on our rails, they have achieved quite the belly tuck. It also has that angled skid. The skid is actually, it looks like on the front side, the skid or the chassis is at the same point. But since it has that little bit of sporty lean to it, it looks like it's got a whole lot more belly clearance. And effectively when you're driving, it will, along with the skid plate doesn't hang underneath the rails. That's another part of it. So, man, yeah, this is going to be a pretty hot build. I'm going to stop there. I have run out of time. It always takes a really long time to wrench on these. You see the guys with the live streams like Harley. He spends hours and hours working on a rig, and a lot of times it takes him many, many live streams to get it done. So, yeah, we're just going to keep wrenching on it as we can. Maybe I can do a live stream for a future one as well. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, if you got any questions about this, put them down below. I'll do my best to get to them. But obviously, I am not the expert on putting together these rigs yet, so I need to work on that. But thank you for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of wrenching and talking about things. As always, thanks for tuning in and have a great day.